Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Migrating MySQL to Yugabyte using YSQL loader. My name is Mike Lee. I'm a solutions architect with Yugabyte. Over my career, I've designed and implemented relational database solutions for transactional and data warehousing projects across the U.S. for transportation, retail, finance, media, entertainment, using various databases such as Informix, DB2, Redbrick, Netezza, and Snowflake. And with me today is Suranjan. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I am Suranjan Kumar. At Yugabyte, I am working with the ecosystem team. Here, our goal is to make the life of app developer easier by supporting different ORMs, improving the drivers for YugabyteDB in different languages, supporting migrations from other DBMS, and developing connectors to other data products like Kafka, Spark, to name a few. I have been working on distributed systems for close to 15 years and have helped build highly scalable and distributed data products like Apache, Geode, and Snappy Data in the past. So in this session, along with you, we will migrate data from MySQL to YugabyteDB using YSQL loader. Over to you, Mike. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ranga. Let's see. Okay, you see the next screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what we're going to be covering today is the YSQL loader. And I hope you're attending this session because you've already decided that Yugabyte is your distributed transaction database, or you're evaluating Yugabyte and about ready to make the decision to go to Yugabyte and need a way to figure out how you're going to migrate your data to Yugabyte. What we're going to be covering today, we're first going to start and talk about the pre-work that's going to be involved. And then we'll talk about the YSQL loader and where you can get it from. And we'll go through all the steps together through this workshop over the next hour or so. All right. So for the workshop, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be configuring YSQL loader on a Mac or VM, and I've arranged to have a MySQL database available that has a test database where we can pull from. And then you're going to go and create your own Yugabyte cloud instance. And then we're going to use the YSQL loader to be able to migrate data from the MySQL database over to Yugabyte. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and go to our Git repo here that you see on the screen. We also put it in the chat so that you don't have to type that long string. And why don't you go ahead and do a git clone and pull up the pre-work PDF, and we'll go through what we're going to be doing in that pre-work PDF real briefly. Actually, I'll pull that up here too. All right, so I'll give it a couple minutes here to make sure everyone's caught up. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to yugabyte.com/cloud, and you're going to go and sign up and register for your account. On the Getting Started page, you can go ahead and click on a free cluster and then click Next. Then choose the cloud provider and change the name of the cluster if you want to. You can just leave it as it is. Then click Next, and then enter your database admin credentials. So while you guys go ahead and start creating your Yugabyte cloud instance, I'm going to go continue on with the presentation to give you a little bit of background on the YSQL loader and all the great work that Suranjan has done. All right. So what is YSQL loader? YSQL loader is actually a fork off of pgloader. Those of you that are familiar with Postgres and have worked with Postgres over the years, you should be familiar with pgloader. It's an open source data migration tool developed by Dimitri Fontaine, and it was developed simply to process the migration of existing databases such as MySQL, Postgres, SQLite over to Postgres. And Suranjan has done a lot of great work to fork the pgloader and Yugabyte the the pgloader and make it our YSQL loader. Since Yugabyte is Postgres wire compatible, that means we have access to Postgres's rich ecosystem. Postgres is one of the many tools that work with Yugabyte as is. If you use Dimitri's version, you might see some warning messages, but overall, that's about it. pgloader will migrate your data from MySQL, SQLite, Postgres, and MS SQL just fine. And during this workshop, we're going to be showing you how that works. So there are not too many ways to migrate a database to another database, but after creating the Yugabyte cloud instance, what we'll do is let pgloader do the regular method of accessing the source database catalog, fetching all the database objects, and generating the DDL and making any necessary conversions if you need to, and then it will move the data. And let's see, so basically it will copy the data over, and then you'll see a complete the database section, and that's basically adding all the constraints such as the primary and foreign keys and any comments. pgloader brags that it can migrate migrate to Postgres or Yugabyte using a single command, and it does. And so let's show you how to use pgloader. All right, so to be able to get pgloader, it's simply a git clone and then GitHub Yugabyte pgloader. And then once the clone has been created, the directory, cd to the pgloader directory, and then do a git checkout YSQL loader dump DDL, and that will get the latest updates that Suranjan has put into the code line. So here's the commands that we're going to be doing. And all of this, by the way, is in the clone of the YSQL workshop that you just have. There's a PDF that has all of the slides, and so you don't have to type all of this. All right, great. So when you create this clone, it's going to take a few minutes, but we'll be taking a break here in a minute to see where everyone is and start building this for you. All right, and there's that. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually, we also have a Docker image as part of the YSQL loader repo. So if you wanted to try the Docker version, you can go ahead and compile the Docker version. Right.
So yeah, if any one of you is facing any issues, please post into Q&A session so that we can resolve it.
All right, very cool. All right, So there we go with Docker. So the using pgloader is actually pretty simple. You could actually type in all of the commands at the command line and all of these options, but I find it much easier to just create this command file. And what we'll do is go through the sections that I have bolded here and tell you what they do, and we'll test them out as the workshop goes on. The first command option is the from section. This determines where the source is and where the target is. So what you want to do is once you've downloaded the MySQL SH or MySQL shell, you can go ahead and test the connectivity to the MySQL. We'll do that here in a minute. And then you would also test, once your Yugabyte cloud instance is up, the connectivity to that instance. And then take all of that information that you have there and go ahead and put it here in the from and the into line. All right. So now we're actually at the first checkpoint, and like to get a poll and find out, well, not a poll, but just find out where everybody is on their creation of their cloud. And is there any problems that anyone has had so far? Okay. Let me show you how we can test and the MySQL instance connectivity, and then we'll also tell you how to start doing the Git clone, right? Okay. All right. Can you see my? Okay, great. You can see.
Can you increase the font?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do first is connect to, assuming that you guys are still creating your cloud instances. So what we could do is run this MySQL sh command and test the connectivity to the MySQL instance that I've got created. I have a MySQL instance running on GCP and have loaded a bunch of tables, and you'll see that here in a minute. So the command is simple, MySQL sh, then the username, which is MIG workshop at that IP address. The -- SQL command will drop it into SQL mode as opposed to JavaScript mode or JS mode. All right. All right, we have successfully connected. The first time that you connect, MySQL will basically prompt you to ask if you wanted to retain the credentials. Just hit yes, and it will not prompt you for a password after that. If you are prompted for the password is password. I believe it's PASSWO. Oh, no. Sorry. This is my witty password. The password for the MySQL instance is YB rocks. So So that's the password there for the MySQL database. Once again, let us know in the chat if you're having problems connecting. And but once you're connected, you can type show tables, and you will see the 8 tables that we have created for this workshop. Now, the next option that we're going to be covering is the let's see, from or with. Yeah, okay. We'll be covering the with, and then we're going to be covering the including clauses. So the point I wanted to make and bring up was that we have you can have hundreds of database tables in your database, and what YSQL Loader is going to allow you to do is to just pinpoint the tables that you want to migrate over to Yugabyte instead of migrating the entire thing. We advocate that you work with microservices, and typically, there's a small number of tables associated with that microservice. So if you're POCing or evaluating Yugabyte, just focus on a small set of tables, and the YSQL Loader is going to allow you to be able to focus on all those tables. So we're going to show you how to include and exclude these tables. But I just wanted to give you a quick checkpoint that there are actually 8 tables in there, and then what we're going to eliminate going forward. All right. Okay. So on to the next section is the with clause. So the with clause basically gives YSQL Loader the information on what type of database migration objects you're going to be doing. And so you can see that there are default options, no truncate, create the tables, include drop, which means drop the tables before creating them, create indexes, reset sequences, which we'll see here in a minute, in a few more slides, and then foreign keys, which means create the foreign keys. You could actually, and I sometimes put these options on this with line so that I actually, just know what's going on and feel like I have some control over what's going on. I've added truncate here because I've successfully migrated, some tables over already, and I don't want to have them dropped and recreated every single time. I can just add the truncate line or option, and it will just empty all the tables and then just start moving data. These particular options are with MySQL. So Microsoft SQL Server and even Postgres have some slightly different options. So the downcase identifiers is important because with MySQL, you have the ability to do mixed case. And so if you have 2 tables that actually have the same name, but one has a capital letter as the first letter, when YSQL Loader moves it over, you're going to get a duplicate table name error. So there's a couple things you got to do when you're migrating and have duplicate table names, but the only difference in MySQL is that there's a capitalization, is that you got to rename one of those tables. So be mindful of that. And then the uniquify index names, Postgres basically needs to have unique per schema. All right, and so MySQL, as you can see there in the notes, is per table. So that's just a nice little feature, but YSQL Loader will do that for you. All right. The next option is the including and excluding clauses or options, which I had alluded to just slightly earlier. So when you're using the including only table names matching line, you can do wildcard searches. So for instance, it has a tilde slash ML underscore, and you can see that there are 4 tables that we have in our database that fit that criteria. But I also want to pull over orders orig. And so you can directly identify tables that you want to pull over by just naming them within single quotes. But also, what excluding what YSQL loader has is an excluding line also. The excluding line only affects the result of the including line. So in this particular example, the anything that has the word orig in it or that pattern will be excluded. So if we were to run this command file, you won't see any of the orig tables that we see here. So there's two orig tables. So in our final product or in the Yugabyte database, we're hoping that you're going to only see the ML tables. All right? Okay. The last option that we're going to play around with today is the cast option. So MySQL has a data type called tinyInt, and that supports values such as 0, 1, 2, and 3. Postgres has Boolean, but that doesn't support 2 and 3 values. And so to be able to retain those values, numbers 2s and 3s, you're going to need to convert any kind of tinyInt columns to a small int. And the cast option allows you to do this automatically. There's another data type. I think it was date time with time zone. I think was in MySQL, and I can add that cast here also, and that will then convert it into a Postgres data type or timestamp value. All right. Okay. So when you run this command file with the cast option, you can see here that on the MySQL side, we have a column called TI column, and then when you go to Yugabyte, you'll see that the column now is a smaller. All right, some data type considerations. Most everything seems to come across pretty well, except for that tinyInt, and the date timestamps. But for the most part, I've done a couple of these migrations, and everything comes over pretty well, without any manual intervention. And then you have the actual added benefit that Yugabyte supports JSON-B. All right. Another option that we have is the reset sequences, and this was a default option, but I wanted to show you and prove to you that the YSQL loader will actually go out and find the max value on the MySQL side, which was here in this case 924280, and then if we come over to the Yugabyte side and do a next val on the sequence that has been brought over, you will see that it's ready for its next value. All right. Okay. How's everyone doing?
Yeah. Time to show.
Yep. All right. Well, let's assuming that you guys are close, let's just go through and give you some, go through each one of these. All right.
So Mike, can you make it full screen? Yeah.
Oh yeah, good idea. I'll make it bigger too. Ooh. Too big. All right. So here is the command that I'm going to do. What I've done is I've created a directory, and I did a git clone, and pgloader was created. And then I just ran the command to do the make of pgloader, and then so what that does, it puts the pgloader in build bin, and so what I'm going to be doing is executing it from this directory. You could actually copy the pgloader executable to /user local bin or wherever you like, and that's in your path, and so that you can not have to fully qualify the whole entire pathway. Right. Let's see. So once again, let's see. So we're going to run it, pgloader with -- verbose, and then I'm pointing to my config file. And the config file is going to be a simple config file where we're just having the load line, the from line, and the into line. And then we're going to keep our batch rows down to 500. Suranjan, can you comment on the importance of the batch row option?
Yeah, so pgloader has its own default of batch rows. However, for YugabyteDB to effectively load the data, we recommend smaller batch sizes for efficient replication of those batches. And we recommend that the batch sizes should be less than 1000. And in this, our demo, we are showing that, okay, for the 500, let's see how it works.
All right. So once again, this pgloader is running on my Mac right here. And as you can see, it's going through and pulling all the tables or creating the tables. And now it's starting to move the data over. What we could do is go over to here, and let's connect to my cloud instance. Do a -T, we'll see that, I'm sorry, I forgot to, I was going to drop all the tables before I ran this first one. So I'll run the drop script out on the next config so you can see how everything gets moved over. Now, we should have 8 tables that come across because we didn't include or exclude anything in the command file.
So in the meantime, can we show the counts of all the tables in MySQL?
Oh, in MySQL?
Yeah. Yeah. So these are the list of tables in MySQL, and we can also show the total number of rows that is there.
Right. One thing I did notice with MySQL is that the row counts are not very accurate, and you do have to run their version of kind of update statistics. And so don't freak out if these numbers don't match what you have in your database, because they're not accurate and they're not up to date. All right, so if we do a select count star from ML orders, you'll see that there's 80,000 and let's see. Oh, it's done. Right. So I did ML orders. You see that it's 80,000. The summary is a really nice summary. It shows you the time it took, how many rows came over, how many indexes, how many threads were run, and the total time it took to migrate all this data over. Okay? All right. So now we're going to take a look at config number 2. Config number 2 is going to include the including line, where we're only going to include the ML tables and the orders orig, but we're going to take out anything that has the pattern orig in it. Okay. So hopefully we won't see anything on the other side. Let me make sure I got this working right. Oh, no, no. I have that. Where'd it go? Okay. Actually, it'll be faster just to drop the database. You were right. Sorry.
So let's show the tables and their counts for one of the smaller tables, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I can start. Oh, well, let me just drop this database. Oh, what? Oh. So we'll recreate the database. And then for those of you that are new to Postgres, like any other relational database, Postgres supports multiple schemas. And so if you want to be able to connect to the schema directly, you need to alter the database and set something called a search path. So right. Okay. So if we log back in, we should see no objects out there at all. Okay. So now we're going to run config2. And if we go back into here, we should be able to see some table. What happened?
So you created with a different user?
Yes, I did. All right. That's strange. All right, I'll create this. Oh, I have to grant. That's right.
Just one second. I have an open one. Oh, there it is. Okay. Grant. Oh. I think that's the command. Oh, shoot. Let's see. I forgot my, let's see, my grant call. So we can connect using the admin user with
yeah. Oh, sorry.
So in the config file, we can use admin user and its password.
Ah, good idea. All right. No, actually, I tried using the admin user and I created a password. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's the problem. All right, bummer. Let's see. I got to pull up a window here and quickly find my my grant commands. All right, here we go.
So can't we just grant all privilege to the user?
Yeah, that's what I tried to do.
Yeah, that let's try that. That works.
Oh, I forgot the word database. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Phew.
Finally.
All right. Wouldn't be a demo if something didn't go wrong. So
So you should never drop. You should never drop a database.
that's what I was telling
That's a
you
joke.
before.
Yeah.
Thank you for the love, everyone. All right. So the next one we're going to do is
So yeah, we can show the options, the config options that we are running currently, and we'll
yeah.
show the output.
Well, okay, yeah. So once again, we're going to include anything with ML and orders ridge, but then we're going to exclude anything with a ridge in it. So if we go back, if I want to, ML migrate. And do a D. Oh, that's not going to work. Hey, I thought I ran the alter
Yeah.
database.
So we need to set the yeah. Can you try now?
Um, oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Granted all. Nothing public. Where'd our database go? Where'd our tables go? Okay.
Yeah. Can you connect again? Just to see. I guess the search path is not correct, maybe.
Let me try logging in as. It shouldn't make a difference, actually. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, I know, because admin doesn't have is just a regular user. Okay, so as you can see, we only have the ML tables that came across, and the orig table, like I said, thank God it worked, did not come across. All right, so now let's move on to config. What number we want? 3, 2, 3.
Yeah. Or we can move to the next one, DDL ones, and depending on the time.
Oh, right. Yeah, actually, let's just jump. Yeah, because 3 is not that much different. So let's. We'll check something. Okay. All right. Let's jump to config 4. Well, config 3 wasn't that much different. All we did was we added the cast line. And so now we're going to jump to config 4.
So let's first go to the slide and we'll discuss that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Suranjan.
Yeah, so as Mike mentioned, right, if you follow the config one, you have to just provide the from and to the source URL and the target URL, and it magically works, right? That's great for initial POCs. However, to take advantage of a distributed SQL product like YugabyteDB, where we have introduced more SQL constructs, for example, geo-partitioning tables, collocated tables, and we also give ways to control how many tablets a table can have. And so these great features, for example, geo-partitioning, if you want to pin your data to a particular region or geographic locations, you definitely want to use that. Then if your use case is such that there are a few large tables, however, there are lots of smaller tables, then you would want to create something like collocated tables that YugabyteDB provides. And in the end, you finally want to dictate how many tablets a table can have. However, we have automatic tablet split. Still, in some cases, we see that, okay, user might want to just have a fewer number of tablets or a very large number of tablets for a particular table. So for all of these features, there are SQL constructs, and you need to introduce them in your DDLs. So to take advantage of that, we have introduced a feature in the pgloader and what we call as a MySQL loader. It's a dump DDL only, where first it reads the schema from MySQL and converts it into a Postgres format and dumps it into a file called ddl.sql. You can load that file, you can modify it and add the YugabyteDB constructs, and then provide it back either to YSQL or to even pgloader, and then create your tables accordingly in YugabyteDB. So we will show one example of that, how to do that, and that is our config 4. So Mike, let's show them the demo.
Yep. So here's how we would use the dump DDL option. And when you run the dump DDL option, like Suranjan mentioned, that there will be a local file where you run this the YSQL loader command. It's called ddl.sql will get generated. So let's show you that. So here's the config file with dump DDL only. We didn't put any including or excluding lines in, so we're going to get all 8 tables. So if I...
can you check if it exists?
Yeah, right here it exists, so I'm going to remove it. And then we're going to run config 4. All right, it is done. Okay, so if we do an ls, there it is, ddl.sql. And then, so with large migrations where you have a lot of tables, maybe 20 or 30 or so, or even hundreds, we do recommend that you do analysis of your MySQL database and get row counts. And anything that's large, which is greater than a million rows or so, we'd like to make sure that you give more tablets so that the data can be spread out across more of the nodes. So what you can do is add some syntax. Let's add it down here on the customer table. And you could add split into, and then give it the number of tablets, like 24 tablets. And then you can add, like Suranjan said from the previous slide, any kind of geo-partitioning and whatnot. And so here's how you can customize your move to Yugabyte, taking full advantage of our distributed architecture. Because it is a mind shift and a mind thinking change when you're having to spread your data across multiple zones or multiple regions or even multiple clouds. So to take full advantage of Yugabyte's ability to distribute data, shard it automatically, and be completely fault tolerant, you need to take advantage of the number of shards that you are split into or the tablets. So we can make this change here, and then I could take this DDL file and let's there it is. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I just didn't.
No, there was another script, I guess.
Yeah. Hold on.
Run ddl.sql.sh.
There we go. All right. So now all the tables have been dropped, and then what I can do is run the YSQL command again and just pass it the DDL. And there you see we've created all the tables and creating all the indexes. Okay.
Yeah. So, Mike, we can show them what is coming next from the migration perspective from Yugabyte.
Yeah. Before we do that, we do want to show you that. Okay, here's the split into.
Yeah.
But after you've created that schema, you can go ahead and run with data only, and then that will just move the data over for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we are running a little bit short of time, so let's. You could run this all on your own. All of the instructions on how to execute this workshop on your own have been included in the Git repo. And so let's move on to the next slide. Here's how you can, all the different options that you can run with pgloader. This is the reason why I like using a command file. So, because inevitably I will most likely fat finger one of the commands or forget a dash and have forgotten dash. You can also run from Docker, and here's how to run the Docker image and pass the command file into the Docker container. And then you've seen the output. All right. Go ahead, Suranjan.
Yeah, so in the workshop, we just saw a glimpse of things to come, right? We saw just how to move a simple database from MySQL to Yugabyte. However, as a new age database company, we want to partner with our users and help them adopt cloud native and distributed database, a product like YugabyteDB. And towards that, and to help them migrate to YugabyteDB, we are working on database migration service, where we will work with our customers in all the three stages. For example, discovery and planning, where we will assess your data infrastructure and determine what are the best service based on your business needs. As we saw that, okay, there are different features that you can take advantage of. We will recommend the best practices on how to adopt YugabyteDB. We will also create incremental plan and for modernization of your one or two workloads based on your effort and business needs. We'll migrate those workloads to YugabyteDB from various databases like Oracle, Postgres, MS SQL, MySQL. So this was just one product. However, we have plans to develop these tools for multiple databases. And in the end, we will build this knowledge base and onboard our users so that not only the transition is smooth, but there is a capability that is built inside your organization to take this process forward. Yeah, Mike.
Right.
So we can.
Also, as part of the DSS, there is another session that, if you haven't seen it already, I can't remember when it was going to come on, but it's the Blitz demo.
Blitz, yes. Yeah.
And if you're looking for change data capture, Blitz is a pretty slick product. So I highly recommend you take a look at that demo.
Yeah. So in fact, I forgot to mention that we are planning to have like offline as well as online migration. So this was like one example of offline migration. We will be in future, we will be having support for online migrations as well. So there will not be any downtime for your applications.
Great. All right. So in summary, I hope Suranjan and I have given you a good taste on how you're able to migrate from your MySQL, your Microsoft SQL Server, SQLite, or even Postgres legacy databases to Yugabyte. You see that it has been well thought of and has flexible command options to be able to customize your migration. It's an open source tool, so you have all of the code to play around with, and you could be a contributor to it if you wanted to. And the YSQL code line, Suranjan has done a great job in optimizing it to work with YugabyteDB and having it being able to take advantage of all the features and functionality that we bring to the table. So on behalf of Suranjan and myself, we thank you for attending and look forward to getting your cards and letters and success stories and hearing you move to Yugabyte in the future. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Yeah.
Oh, actually, we have a little bit more time. Are there any questions, anybody? Sorry. All right. Oh, looks like we're getting the boot. Bron is told us the next session is starting. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.